Welcome to the Wind Up with Will, everyone. I'm your host, Will, here with another video, and today we're talking about the MLB playoffs. We're in the League Championship Series, the round right before the World Series. We have the Mets and Dodgers facing each other, and the Yankees and Guardians facing each other. And both of these have been exciting series so far. As a Mets fan, it's been a little disappointing for me. The Mets are down 3-1 after last night. The Guardians still have a shot. They're behind 2-1. Against the Yankees after last night's win. The Mets still have a shot down 3-1. The Diamondbacks were down 3-1 to the Phillies last year. So there's always hope, and there's been plenty of teams throughout MLB's postseason history that have come from behind down 3-1. And I kind of like the pitching matchups the next few days. I think the Mets have a chance to get back in the series, especially if we can get back to Game 6. But we'll get to that in a second. I want to start out, before I go too much into the playoffs, mentioning something I should have mentioned a few videos ago, but I just forgot. I didn't really make any notes. I don't really do a ton of notes when I do these videos, so I just kind of freestyle it, and it's easy to forget things or leave stuff out. A few weeks ago, Pete Rose, the all-time hit king in Major League Baseball's history, passed away, sadly. And I think it's very sad that he passed away, and especially even more sad that he passed away before he could see himself get elected to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, it's very unfortunate he's not in the Hall. It's a real travesty because he should be in. He should have been in a long time ago. I think the betting thing is absolutely horrible that he did it, and there should have been some kind of punishment for it. Perhaps even a short-term hiatus from the Hall of Fame, but there's no reason that he should be in. There's a difference between him and the people who actually cheated to inflate their numbers to make themselves look better and win awards they shouldn't have. I think the betting is horrible. He should be punished for it. He should have been punished for it. But keeping him out of the Hall of Fame over it is a little extreme in my opinion, especially like how much MLB just glorifies betting now and sponsors it. So I think it's absolutely horrible that he did not get to see himself elected to the Hall of Fame and just constantly shunned by MLB and its commissioners over the last few decades, which has just been very tragic. I hope he is getting some. I hope he's resting in peace. May he rest in peace. On to the actual playoffs that are going on now. The Mets and Dodgers series is 3-1. Dodgers are up 3-1 in the series. It has been an exciting series of blowouts. In Game 1 on Sunday, the Dodgers won 9-0. Before I go much further, something else I forgot to mention in my last video I did on playoffs. Was my League Championships MVP picks. So that would be my picks going into it, because my pick was the Mets and Yankees in the World Series. I would say my picks should have been Francisco Lindor, or this is what they would have been. Francisco Lindor for the Mets, winning the NLCS MVP, and Aaron Judge winning the ALCS MVP. And in the World Series MVP, I didn't really think about it at all. I guess I would say it would probably be Francisco Lindor again. He's just been the Mets' best player all year. If the Mets were to win the World Series, that's who I think it would be. Now, obviously, as the series has progressed, we've got Game 5 later tonight. It's actually starting in a little less than an hour. This video probably won't be up by then, but we'll see. If I can keep the video short, hopefully we can get it uploaded pretty quickly. As the series has gone on, I think in both series, the Yankees Guardians series and the Mets Dodgers series, who I predicted is not looking like that's going to be the case. Even though Aaron Judge has hit a little better the last couple of games, it looks like he maybe is kind of getting back into the running for ALCS MVP. But I think it'd probably be Giancarlo Stanton. He just hit some couple big home runs in the series. I know Aaron Judge hit a big home run last night. Stanton actually hit the home run that put them ahead. He's hit better. Soto's hit well in that series for them. So you got three different guys who've got a chance to win. Aaron Judge still has a chance to win it, but I think Stanton and Soto are maybe a little bit ahead of him in terms of the MVP status in the ALCS. Over in the NLCS, I think it's probably between Kiki Hernandez for the Dodgers and Tommy Edman for the Dodgers. Exactly who we thought it was going to be. It's just crazy that those guys have just hit the way that they have. Both of them have killed the Mets in this series, hitting at the bottom of the lineup. And they're doing so well that Kiki Hernandez was moved up to fifth in the lineup last night. So, but for the Mets, if the Mets were to somehow come back and win this, I think it'd be Mark Vientos. He has hit phenomenal this entire postseason. He's hit well in this series as well. He's hit 2 big home runs. He has been basically the only offense for the Mets in this series. If the Mets somehow come back and win the series, I think it'll be because of Mark Vientos. Now, Lindor or Alonso or someone else could still have big hits the next few games, especially if the Mets are able to extend this series to 7 and somehow win it. Someone else maybe could jump in and win MVP, but Mark Vientos has done the best so far for the Mets. And over on with the Guardians, who's done the best for them in their series, it's maybe been Steven Kwan. Jose Ramirez has had a couple big hits. He hit a home run. David Fry with a home run last night that gave them the win, the walk-off home run. Definitely puts him in the conversation in terms of ALCS MVP. I believe he was an all-star this year for them. He would possibly be the pick for ALCS MVP for the Guardians if they're able to win the series. Now, they're in a much better spot than the Mets, setting down 2-1 rather than down 3-1. So we'll start with the Mets-Dodgers series. Dodgers win Game 1 9-0. Kodai Senga couldn't keep his control in Game 1. Just led to the Dodgers getting an early lead that they never relinquished and they just ran away with. In Game 2, the Mets jumped out to an early lead with a Lindor leadoff home run that jump-started the Mets offense, and Mark Vientos ends up hitting a grand slam in the second inning. The Mets ended up winning 7-3 in that game. Sean Manaea, who has been the Mets' best pitcher all year, pitched phenomenally, got 5+ innings out of him. He made it into the 6th inning. Pitched well for the Mets long enough for them not to relinquish their lead, hold on, win Game 2. Game 3 in New York, the Dodgers ran away with again, 8-0. And last night, the Dodgers jumped out to an early lead with a Shohei Ohtani leadoff home run. The Mets ended up tying the bottom of the first with a Vientos home run, but then the Dodgers just kept running up the score from there and ended up winning 10-2. And the Mets had multiple opportunities in the game last night to score. There was a couple instances with bases loaded. One instance with bases loaded, no outs, and the Mets don't score at all. So the Mets' inability to hit with runners in scoring position has killed them. And down the stretch, even in like the month of September, the Mets were struggling offensively at times. But when it came to it, the Mets were able to win the games they needed to make the playoffs, advance in the NL Wildcard Series, the NLDS. We can see with their backs against the wall if they can do it again tonight, perhaps, if they can extend it the next couple of games. But the Mets have really struggled with hitting with runners in scoring position in this series, and the walks their pitchers have given up have killed them. They've given up 7+ walks in all 4 games. I believe it's tied a National League record, or it might be a Major League record. The Mets have had over 30 walks. The Mets pitchers have given up 30 walks in 4 games to the Dodgers. That's an insane amount. Normally in an MLB game, you might see 4 guys, maybe you might see 4 walks in a game or something like that. 7+ every game. Part of it's the Dodgers, that they just don't swing, they don't chase, and then part of it is the Mets pitchers just not hitting pitches, not getting pitches out over the strike zone, just throwing them in the dirt or throwing them out wide. And I think part of it is just being afraid at the Dodgers lineup. And you can't, if you're a pitcher, you cannot pitch afraid. You have to go after hitters. Otherwise, you're going to end up with walks. You can't have leadoff walks. You can't keep walking people. It's kind of like basketball. If you foul enough people, eventually they're shooting free throws, and it's giving the other team points. Just like that in baseball, if you walk enough people, the other team is going to score some runs. They're going to get some of those guys in. You're just giving them a free base runner on base that can run around and score. So you don't want that, and that has been the big bugaboo for the Mets is the hitting has not worked well in this series, and the pitching has not worked well, and that's not a good combination to win. You got to have at least one of those to work well in terms of winning, and the Mets have just not had it so far. But Game 5 is tonight. The Mets are pitching David Peterson starting this game. I think he's going to do well going up against Jack Flaherty. I think this might be an actual low-scoring game for once in this series, but we'll see. I'm going to pick the Mets to win this one. I think the Mets extend the series tonight. I think with the backs against the wall, they're going to find a way to win. On the other side of the bracket, you have Yankees Guardians, the Yankees won the first 2 games at home. Let me pull up the scores for those. Yankees won game 1 5-2. I haven't watched a ton of highlights from the series because I've been super focused on my Mets, but the Yankees got out to a 4-0 controlling lead in game 1 and ended up holding on to win 5-2. The Yankees have decent pitching. The Guardians have a really good bullpen. So their series has been a lot more pitching based and a lot more low scoring compared to the Mets Dodgers. There have not been blowouts, and it's been super tight games. Game 2 for Yankees Guardians. The Yankees won 6-3. They jumped out to a 3-0 early lead early on and didn't relinquish it, holding on to win 6-3. There were some opportunities for Cleveland to score, and they did score and cut it to 3-2 at one point, but they just couldn't get back in, or just couldn't take control of the game, get the lead. And then game 3 last night for them, they had an epic game. I watched the highlights earlier today. I heard it was one of the best games ever. Back and forth game. The Yankees take the lead early. Guardians come back and take a 3-1 lead. And then in the 8th inning, Aaron Judge, who has not done hardly anything in this series, hits a 2-run home run to tie the game. And then the very next batter Giancarlo Stanton, hits a solo home run to give the Yankees a 4-3 lead, looking like they're going to go up 3-0, which is pretty much a death sentence for a team in the playoffs, because there's only ever been one team to come back from down 3-0, the 2004 Red Sox. And then the Yankees again score in the 9th inning, going up 5-3. And when all hope looks like it's gone, I'm going to make sure I pronounce this player's name correctly. Where is he in the lineup? John Kinsey Noel. They call him Big Christmas. He hits a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game. They go to extras, and then David Fry hits a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 10th inning to win it for the Guardians 7-5. Their season isn't over. Super excited to see where this series goes. It's been super tight in the games, and the Guardians and the Yankees have a long history in the playoffs of facing over the last few decades. So it's exciting to see where this series goes, to see if the Guardians can get back to the World Series, or if the Yankees can maybe finally have a shot at winning their first championship since 2009. And the Mets, even though their backs are up against the door right now, have been the comeback kids over the last month, really over the last year, because early on they had such a horrible start to the season, have an incredible run through the second half of the season, even last day of the year to get in the playoffs, have performed when their backs are against the wall. We can see if the Mets can do it again tonight. I hope they can. And I'm yelling, "Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets!" I hope we win. But even if we don't, it's been a super fun year. I think we're going to win and extend the series, and I'm hoping we can get to Game 7 and maybe advance to the World Series. That's all I got for this video. It's a shorter one. Let me know your thoughts down below. What have you thought of the 2 series so far, and which 2 teams are going to be facing each other in the World Series? I'll see you on the next video, and LGM.